What's up everybody? Welcome to the Stocks channel. My name is Cory and welcome to your daily stock market technical analysis update. We saw the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones Industrial go down today, but we did see tech continue to lead the way higher. First up, let's take a look at the S&P 500 SPY ETF. So let's crack open this chart and see what's going on in the stock market today. Alright, so on the SPY ETF we did go down negative 0.21% today, but the price action's still trading above that 5 EMA. We still have that really strong bullish trend, and you can see that the 5 EMA is still going up at this really nice positive slope, and all of these moving averages are still stacked to the bull side. So even on down days like this, we have such a strong bullish trend and the price action has been so bullish that it's really just a cooling off time before the stock market continues to head higher. So my price target on the SPY ETF is still up here at $377, and I don't see anything on the chart that would lead me to believe that we're not going to reach that price target. That doesn't mean we can't see some selling and some dips on the way to that target, but if you're long term in the stock market, you're more focused on where it's going and how long it's going to take to get there. So I do see 377 in the very near future, most likely either going to happen this year or very early next year. Now, a lot of people are getting scared the higher the stock market goes, and we are starting to see more people position themselves in cash and try to start shorting this market. I don't suggest trying to short this market, so if you're one of those people that's starting to get fearful, just go to cash and wait it out. Trying to short a market just because it is going higher is a recipe for disaster. Bull markets go higher, and if you're trying to short a bull market, you're going against the trend, and we always say the trend is your friend, so don't try to short a bull market. Yes, if you're a good trader and you're disciplined and you know how to get in and out of positions quickly, shorting is just fine. I'm talking to those of you who think that the stock market has to come down in a big way just because it's gone up so far, and you're trying to do a long-term hold short position. Don't do it. Take my word for it. It's not going to pay off for you. Now, in order for this chart to stop looking bearish, we need to start getting price action closes below the 5 EMA, and we need to see the 5 EMA start reversing trend and starting to head below the 13 EMA. We're not even close to that happening. So until we see something change on this chart, we're going to remain bullish because the price action and the trend are bullish. We're just following the price action and the technical trend, and until something changes, we're going to remain bullish. Next up is the Nasdaq 100 QQQs ETF, and our upside price target on the Nasdaq 100 is now up here at $312 ever since we broke our first price target at $300. The stock market's pretty much doing exactly what I expected after the vaccine news, and a lot of the money is starting to rotate back into the tech sector. Today's a perfect example of that because we see the tech sector going up over 0.5% on a day that the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones were actually going down. So we are seeing money go back into the big tech leaders, and that is going to sustain the next bull rally because we're now getting all-time highs on all three indices. So on the Nasdaq 100 QQQs, we are closing above the 5 EMA, and we still have that really strong bullish trend. All of these moving averages are telling us that the bullish trend is only gaining momentum, and we don't see any signs of weakness in this trend. Are we getting a little bit overbought? Sure, but the market can continue to go higher while staying overbought. And it also only takes a day or two of cooling off until we're no longer overbought and we continue to head higher. So just like I said on the S&P 500, don't try to short a market just because it continues to go higher. That's a recipe for disaster, and those kinds of short squeezes are what's likely to just lead the market into a blow off the top melt up situation. Now, I haven't seen a blow off the top melt up situation yet, but if we do start going parabolic and we go up in a straight line, we could get some huge selling. But as long as this rally stays around the 5 EMA and we don't get too far separated, we're going to just continue to head higher day after day. So as far as support levels on the QQQs go, watch the 5 EMA and watch the 13 EMA, which is now coming up to our previous breakout at $300, which could also act as support. There's no reason to believe that we're going to break below the 13 EMA, so if we break below the 5, I would watch that as your possible support level. On the Dow Jones DIA ETF, we did form that new all-time high on Friday of last week, and today we tested that breakout as support, and we did get a confirmation bounce and a price action close above the 5 EMA. So again, very bullish price action, still closing above the 5 EMA, and we still have that really strong bullish trend on the Dow Jones. So all three indices are maintaining their bullish price action and maintaining their bullish trends. When all three indices are forming new all-time highs and they're in a bull market, that is the recipe for a secular bull market, and we could continue to see the bull market head higher as long as we maintain these price actions and these trends. So on the Dow Jones, watch for support at the 5 EMA and the previous breakout at $300. Next up is ARKK, which is a new ETF that we're going to start covering right here on the Stocks channel. And by far, this ETF has been outperforming the Nasdaq 100 as of late, and it's been on an absolute tear. Now, one thing about this ETF is it is actively managed and it doesn't necessarily track any of the indices. So we're not going to treat the ARKK as any indications of the overall health of the market, but it is an ETF that's very popular, so I figured we'll go ahead and start covering it. So the first thing to note on this ETF is we are going up in a parabolic straight line, which is not a sustainable rally. Remember, I said this on the other 3 indices that if we start seeing this situation, we could see a lot of selling. You can also see that we do have a breakout of this previous resistance trend line, and if we do start to get some selling, which I do expect to start seeing some selling in this ETF soon, we're going to want to see if that level is going to act as support or if it's going to break right through there. We also opened a gap that won't close until a price target of 117. So we need to pay attention because it does look a little stretched out and it does look like it went too far too fast, and it's also trading above the upper Bollinger Band. So I did have a price target on ARKK of 117, which we broke through today with no problem. So the next price target above is about $124 to $125. If we get up to 125 without any sustainable pullback or any cooling off or selling, I do think we could see a sharp pullback in this ETF. So if you're not already in this ETF, I don't suggest you start buying in now because it's absolutely near a top and we are going to start seeing some selling. So on ARK, if we start getting some selling, watch that 117 level and the support trend line somewhere around 116. If we start breaking below support, there could be a lot more downside because of how parabolic this upward move was. Next up is the VIX, which is our fear indicator, and the VIX did go up over 2.4% today, but that's to be expected on a day that the S&P 500 is down. So nothing abnormal there, and it does look like the VIX is hanging around our support level at 21.3. So it's still a low fear environment, and we still see the VIX somewhere around 21.3, which means that there's not going to be a ton of volatility, and there's not likely to be a huge sell-off out of the blue. So it does look like the VIX is still bleeding out, and we still have that really nice bearish trend, so I'm still expecting to see the VIX start heading back to 18. If we do start popping from here and getting back up into the 24 levels on the VIX, that could mean that a lot of selling is coming, and we would want to position ourselves defensively. But right now we don't see that, and we still have bearish price action and bearish trending on the VIX. Next up is the US dollar, and it did look like the dollar finally found a bottom last week, and we did get a little bit of a bounce today. However, it was a pretty weak bounce, and we didn't even get a price action close above the 5 EMA. So the dollar is still in a very strong bearish trend, and you can see that with all of these moving averages stacked to the bear side and how strong that bearish trend's momentum is. So it doesn't look like the dollar is going to bounce in any meaningful way, which is good news for the stock market. So this little bit of bounce in the dollar could be short-lived, and the dollar could start heading back for another leg lower after a little bit of a bear flag and consolidation. Now, if the dollar does start showing some signs of strength, that could be bearish for the stock market and we could see a small correction. But right now, the dollar's not looking very strong, and this really does just look like a dead cat bounce, which could be short-lived before the downtrend continues. On gold, we're seeing extremely bullish price action, which is to be expected with a weak dollar, and we are seeing gold go back and close above our resistance level at 1860. So let's go ahead and turn our resistance level to newfound support, and let's change the color to green. And we're now looking for gold to start heading back up to 1930. So remember when I said gold was capitulating and we were going down in a parabolic fashion? And that usually leads to an explosive bull market. So it does look like gold is going into that explosive bull market, and we are starting to get that impulsive move to the upside, which is going to set the trend for our bull rally, and it's going to let us know how far we can expect gold to go. So eventually gold will get some selling and it will get a pullback. And if we stay above 1860 on gold, that could be a good opportunity to start adding some more gold or buying in for the first time. So watch that 1860 level on gold, and if we can hold above there as support, it could be very bullish and gold could be heading to 1930. On silver, we see a very similar story where we were capitulating and we got that huge bounce, and we now see a bullish trend developing on silver. My price target on silver remains at $25, and we haven't yet quite got there, but it looks like we could be there very soon. On Bitcoin, we did get to my price target at 19.6 thousand, and we're just sort of hanging around consolidating under this price target, and we're going to see if the bulls can break out of this consolidation, break above 19.6, and get to my next price target above at $21,200. Now you can see down here that it does look like the volume is drying up on Bitcoin, and there's really not a ton of people flooding into Bitcoin at these prices. If the volume dries up too much, we could start to see some selling, and we could see a huge correction in Bitcoin. If Bitcoin does start selling off, I would watch the 50 EMA, which is down here around $16,500. On Apple stock, we did hit my price target today of $124, but we did close lower for the day, somewhere around 123.75. Now, if we break above this price target of 124, my next price target above is at $136. So Apple could have a lot of room to run once we get a close above 124. And you can see we have really bullish price action, and the bullish trend is picking up momentum. So Apple is looking really good, and it is a market moving stock. So if Apple starts breaking and closing above 124 and heading higher, it's likely to drag the rest of the stock market right up there with it. On the financial sector, we got another bullish price action close above the 5 EMA, and we still have that very strong bullish trend. On industrials, the price action is still above the 5 EMA, and the trend is still looking really strong for the bulls. On the healthcare sector, we're also closing above the 5 EMA, and the bullish trend is picking up momentum. You can see that 13 EMA is now crossing back over the 20, and we're starting to get a bullish stacked moving averages building up, which is telling us that the bullish trend is only gaining strength. So to summarize all of this, we see bullish price action on all of the sectors across the board, and we see Apple, our market moving stock, is also starting to gain some momentum. So I am still expecting to see the S&P 500 continue to head higher to new all-time highs and start slowly approaching our price target up here at $377. Now remember, this is a very bullish market, and I don't suggest you try shorting it just because it's going higher. It could continue to go higher, and if you're trying to short, you're gonna lose a lot of money. Now for you bulls out there, don't be greedy and start trimming and taking some profits. As we get higher and higher, that's the time to start selling and raising some cash and get ready to buy the next dip opportunity. There's always going to be dips and corrections in every single bull market. And remember, the higher stocks go, the hotter they get. Alright, my Tesla bulls, I know you had a great day today because I did right there with you. Remember on Friday, I said I did go long on Tesla because we did get a confirmation of that breakout of my price target at 587. So when I get a breakout and a confirmation of a breakout, that brings me up to my next price target, which was $647. Now, I would have never guessed in my right mind that we got there in one day, but that's exactly what you crazy Tesla bulls did today, and you drove the price all the way up from about 598 all the way up to like 648 in one day. You guys are absolutely nuts, but thank you for the sweet profits. But now that we are up here at my next price target, I am getting a little more defensive and I am trimming the fat, and I am going to go ahead and take my profits because as a disciplined trader, I cannot continue to hold something that goes up over 7% in one day. So remember, if you're following my technical analysis on Tesla, I do think we're reaching an important market top on Tesla, finishing out wave 5, which means there's likely going to be a 20 to 30% correction in the very near future. Now that doesn't mean Tesla can't continue to go higher, but as a disciplined trader, I want to go ahead and take my profits at these price targets. Now if we start breaking and closing above 647 and we do it in a healthy way, maybe I'll ride it up to our next price target, which is up here at $690. But right now, as a Tesla bull, you really have to consider taking some profits. Don't watch this thing run up and don't sell any of it just to watch it crash back down 30%. There's a huge amount of volume coming in 1221, no doubt, with the S&P 500 inclusion, but don't just assume Tesla has to continue to scream higher until that day. We could see the selling before that day, and we could jump all the way back down to 530 before that buying comes in. So don't get too confident, but also I'm not trying to scare you out of your position. Just watch these levels and watch it very carefully. If we start dipping and closing below the 5 EMA, that could be a sign that this sustainable bull rally is ending. Next up is NIO stock, and remember on NIO stock, I think we're finishing wave 3 and heading down for a wave 4. So wave 4s usually look like an ABC, and we're still in a possible B move before we see that C wave down. Now anything is possible, but after that huge parabolic move we had on NIO, it's likely going to take a little bit of time for the wave 4 to consolidate. Now we are seeing a little bit of consolidation. If I jump over to a 1 hour chart, it does look like the price action is starting to wedge into another consolidation. So anytime we're in a wedge, we want to be patient and watch and wait to see if it's going to break to the upside for the bulls or the downside for the bears. I still have a support level on NIO down here at $41, which we got really close to hitting today, but we did start running after the open, so we never actually got there. So be patient on NIO and watch to see if it's going to break out above 45 or if it's going to break down below 43. That's going to tell you a lot about where the next move in NIO is going to be. So going back over to the daily chart, I do have support levels at $41, $39, and $36. So watch those levels, and it is somewhat of a falling knife scenario. Even though we did go up over 4% today, it could just be another bounce on the way down. The price action's still below the 5 EMA, and we still have a short-term bear trend that we need remedied before we become too bullish on NIO. Next up is Palantir stock, and Palantir stock went up over 21% today. Again, I still think Palantir could be in a correction ABC, and this could have been that B wave bounce before we continue down to finish out a C wave. Usually after a huge parabolic movement like this, we need to see some type of correction, and we did see the price action go down to 21, and we did see a bounce. My only question is, are we going to see a C wave down, or are we going to continue up and form new all-time highs? So I would be patient on Palantir if you're not already in the stock. I never suggest chasing parabolic moves, and I never suggest jumping in too early. So there's always going to be a buying opportunity on these stocks. If you're dying to get in, just be patient and wait to see if it can break back above and form a new all-time high above $29. Remember, on closing prices, a close above 29 would be bullish on this chart because last time we got above 29, we actually closed down here at 27. So what Palantir does tomorrow is going to say a lot about whether or not this is an ABC correction or if it was just a cool off before we continue to head higher. To the upside, we have price targets of $30 and $33. And if we start breaking above 33, our next price target is somewhere around $37. Next up is TWLO stock, and we did see TWLO finally get that dip buying opportunity where we closed below the 5 EMA and just above the 13. On a hot stock like this, if you've been waiting to get in, you want to buy off of these support levels because these are going to maximize your profits. You don't want to chase something that's already moved like Palantir or Tesla. Look for the next buying opportunity, and TWLO is absolutely at a buying opportunity sitting right on its 13 EMA. My price target on TWLO remains $338, and a break above that should send us all the way up to $373. Next up is DraftKings stock, which got a little beat up today because an analyst gave it a price target of $48. So it went right back to $48 and closed today. So it's going to be very interesting to see if DraftKings is going to break out of this support level and start bouncing higher. And we still have a bullish trend on this chart. The 5 EMA is still over the 13, and we still have that positive sloping 20 simple moving average. So if the DraftKings bulls are still out there, they're going to start buying in soon, and it's likely going back to our price target at $54. If we start breaking and closing below 48 and the 20 simple moving average, this chart is going to start looking bearish, and DraftKings will unfortunately no longer be a hot stock. Next up is Boeing stock, which we saw go up over 2% today, and it looks like it's starting to bounce off a breakout of 230, found that level as support and starting to bounce to our next price target at $260. So Boeing is absolutely a buy the dip stock, and we see a really strong bullish trend on Boeing, which tells us it's going to continue heading higher. The bullish trend is a force that's just going to keep pushing price higher, and we're going to continue to see price action closes above this 5 EMA until we get to 260. So I'm really bullish on Boeing, and I'm looking at any dip as a possible buying opportunity. Also, don't forget, if you're looking for a trading community, there's a stocks channel Discord, which you can find a link in the description below on how to join. For all my bulls out there, don't be afraid to take some profits on these hot stocks, and as the market continues to go higher, start locking in some of those profits. Good luck out there, everybody. I hope you're killing it in the trading, and I hope you're making a lot of money. Have a great night, and as always, I will see you in the next episode.